Hello and welcome to another episode of Stand Out in 60 Seconds, a weekly conversation on one topic: how to stand out. Standing out is not about being louder or busier, it's about recognizable in the moments that matter. Every Wednesday at 5, we talk about one lever of standing out and unpack it. One idea, 20 minutes, something that you can actually use. 60 seconds of thinking right after the 20 minutes, and you are right ready to go ahead and implement it. Today's idea lever is ideas. My guest is Aleem Merchant, founder of Synapse. I've heard Aleem speak in Tekadi for Ascent in Mumbai for the pharma brand marketing, and as soon as I invited, he jumped in. Aleem works on the intersection of creativity and strategy, not creativity for attention, but the creativity that solves real business problems. He runs a podcast called, well, I'll let him talk about it because it's very, very important. What I love about Aleem is his giving nature. He's always cheerful, he's always on. And that is the first thing I remember for Aleem, the brand. Today, we are not talking about being different for the sake of it. We are going to be covering one overarching theme. When does one idea help you stand out, and when is it noise? And I'm going to leave you with Aleem with just one line that his company's website is called letsideate.com, and you should go ahead and check that out. Welcome, welcome, Aleem.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you. And when you talk about smiling and cheerful, it's very difficult not to be cheerful when you're around. So, I mean, it's contagious on your part that why, and the reason why we are always so cheerful around you.
Ah, so, Aleem, in your words, what does standing out actually mean when we talk about ideas and not image? So, what is Aleem's definition of standing out?
Yeah, Praveen, I'm very, very passionate about ideas, and I that's one thing that I think the God has sent me in this universe to basically do. And like you said, even my website is letsideate.com. That's how passionate we are about it. Now, when you talk about standing out and ideas that stand out, there are three things that I look for an idea that really stands out. First thing is it brave? If it's a brave idea, it'll stand out. The second thing is it driven by insight? Is it not just an idea that's there, but it's driven by some sort of insight? And the third thing is it should make you feel good. So if it
Right.
ticks these three boxes, it's brave, it's insightful, and it makes you feel good, then that's an idea that really stands out, according to me.
I've tried it. It doesn't work with my wife here. I've tried to be brave. I've tried to be driven by insight, but it doesn't make her feel good.
I don't know how to be brave in front of a wife, that I'll have to learn.
Jokes apart, thank you. This breaks it down into just a simple check. These three things. If it doesn't, then it's not worth wasting your time. Now, I have been accused of being unconventional just to get attention. I plead guilty on that front. But this question is very pertinent for a lot who are fighting. Do I need to be unconventional to get attention? Where does creativity stop being useful and start becoming noise, especially from an idea perspective? One beautiful lever you've given to differentiate ideation between usefulness and noise is the three-step process, but we'd love to hear more.
See, I think, Praveen, this is a good one actually, because see, unconventional is also being creative. And I really believe that, so being unconventional is not something you need to be apologetic about. Actually, you
Right.
should take a lot of pride about being unconventional. So I think being unconventional is being creative. Creativity, again, is never noise. Non-creativity is noise. So if
Ah,
anything that is not creative, that is typically noise, according to me. If somebody's just shouting from their rooftops because they think they have a message to deliver, that's noise. But if somebody's saying it creatively, then there is always there's always attraction towards it. And I always think that as humans we crave creativity. Just, I mean, we want our brains get simulated with creativity. So we
right.
crave creativity as much as we crave food. We crave creativity. That is why the whole social media addiction has started. I mean, if primitive man used to go back to his cave and stare at his fire. He used to stare at the
Oh,
fire. Today we go and stare at the TV, or we stare at the telephone. But having said that, there is something that we are trying to get out of that. Maybe earlier it was just those forms of fire that he would find creative. Now he would look at a television. Now he looks at a phone. But we crave creativity. But if anything is not creative, anything is not unconventional, it is noise, and that's where we need to kind of draw the line.
Very nice. From your work with brands and leaders for Synapse, because you've been working with so many brands, working on their marketing campaigns and ideas, what is the most common reason good ideas never see the light of day?
That's a good one. But I think, the answer actually is very simple, Praveen, and maybe it sounds a little cliche. But, when people use their mouth more and their ears less, that's when ideas don't make the cut. Because I think, when you're delivering for brands or companies and all that, a lot of people are very enthusiastic to, respond, or even, I'm saying, even reply in that case. What I really think is people should do is first listen. And that's probably one of the reasons why God has given us two ears and one mouth, which is a cliche. But having said that, I firmly believe that there are very few people in this world who can listen and understand what the client is even not saying. And if you can get that what he's not saying, and you can find the insight in that, take that information, make it an insight, make it into an idea, I think that is when you're hitting a home run. But when people don't listen and then they just come up with ideas randomly, those ideas will never see the light of the day. And you won't believe, Praveen, when we present ideas, I have a 28-point checklist saying that if it
Oh,
marks all these, only then
oh,
will that idea see the light of the day, be presented to the client, forget see the
that's
light
right.
of the day. And these are all from mistakes I've made in my earlier meetings with clients. So every time I make a mistake, I write that mistake down and say never again.
Oh, beautiful. And I come from the South, which is a land of the punchlines, but here we have Aleem. Insight lies in what is not said, especially from an ideation and what gets accepted perspective. And it's up to us as marketers, as entrepreneurs, to find that what is unsaid. Aleem, can you share an example where a creative idea has created disproportionate impact, not because it was flashy, but because it solved the right problem? Any examples?
Yeah. So, Praveen, while a large portfolio of what we do is healthcare, I'll give you an example that is not healthcare so that people can understand, right? So, one of the brands that we handle is probably the world's most loved brand, which is Lego. And Lego, the toy company Lego, right?
Yes.
And you make bricks and things like that. So, when Lego was entering India formally, there was a conscious decision that they wanted to create something that will really stand out, something that will really go viral, kind of a thing. But it was not with the intention of going viral, but the intention that someday this will probably bear fruit. They never knew it's going to become so big. So what they were
Right.
doing is, and I'll not use names here, but they were continuously gifting certain celebrities, let's put it that way, or actors, kids, Lego toys. Even though they're the privileged ones, so they get it for free.
Hmm.
We have to work for it. But they would continuously gift these celebrity kids boxes of Lego. One fine day during COVID, and this was a very, I mean, Lego entered during COVID, and it was not the best time for Lego to
Oh,
enter India. So they needed to create a big splash, but they couldn't do a live event and things like that. One of those kids built a god statue using Lego. Okay, and that picture went crazy viral. Like the whole world went crazy about this one thing. Now, what did it take? Was it just chance? It wasn't chance. It was actually a very strategic approach to keep investing in this, CRM kind of a thing to create this fan base. And that fan base that got created eventually with this one particular child, and then going all the way, everybody in the country saw that it was a Ganpati statue of that made with Lego, and that going viral is when I saw that the right intent with the right action, the right idea delivered and executed in the right way actually can bear virality if you want to see an idea blow up.
that is brilliant. In the comments, we have Sanjay Wadhwa chipping in. Another brilliant sales leader, change maker. Unconventional is being creative, standing out makes you heard in the noise. And I'm going to lead the next question in with that, Aleem. Where did the idea of pills in a pod come about? We have several podcasts, but nothing in that niche. Where did that come about? And do tell us a bit more about that podcast as well.
Fantastic. If you want the honest answer or the diplomatic answer, I'll
No,
go with
on,
the honest
oh,
one
go
for
ahead.
now. Okay. The
Go with the
diplomatic
Aleem
one is that,
answer.
I wanted to create an impact in the industry. But the honest answer. So, Praveen, I'm a first generation entrepreneur. Uh,
Yes.
and because of, it's been a rough ride, in the early days and things like that. One of the things that hurts us is in spite of in spite of building an organization that we think is amongst the best, we many times lose brands because people don't see us as an authority in this space, you know and we wanted to build authority. So while I knew some of these managing directors, CEOs, and things like that, I was not seen as somebody who would have a conversation with them and things like that. People always thought that I'm just a marketing guy, I'll deal with the marketing team. So I
Right.
wanted to build
Right.
authority. I thought the podcast was an opportunity for me to build authority in the health and pharma sector, and that is why I created a very tight niche of, I will just start with pharmaceutical leaders who have not been in the limelight. And
Beautiful.
it was purely, I mean, the exercise was purely to build authority. And I shamelessly go ahead and promote it because I think that's what the world needs today. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is having a reason, a purpose, an idea, and converting that idea straight through. Now, what is more dangerous today, Aleem? Is it playing safe or trying too hard to be different? Which, if you had to pick just one of the two, which is the more dangerous in today's world?
It's like, when you stand at a metro station, there's a yellow line. You don't cross that yellow line so that you can get your seat. So don't cross the line so that you can get your seat. So don't cross the line, but don't play too safe and stand behind. You might not get the seat on the table. So that's how I look at it. You need to be as brave, if I have to reuse that word again, but you also cannot cross certain lines. It's a country that's sensitive towards it, so we
Right.
should keep guardrails around it.
Now, the next question here, from an idea perspective, is I've heard you speak in two different platforms to entrepreneurs and to a wider set of brand managers. Your talks almost always have seeds, plants of an idea, acronyms, but you also use advertisements in your talk. You play something specific. Why do you do that? How is that pertinent to you ideating or planting seeds into your audience?
So, Praveen, I was a terrible student. I was like really bad. I could not remember formulas, dates, and things like that. So, one way that I learned to study was when, I would take, like say 5 points and make an acronym of it and then remember it that way. So, if you want me to remember the planets, I would always remember it by, when the science teacher came and told you that Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars was my very educated mother. So, now that kind of really clicked for me. I said, this is the probably the best way that I could learn. It was a moment of flash for me that I felt that, wow, I love this way of learning. So whenever I go on stage and I so when I go on stage, my objective is really to give. I really want people to get what I'm giving them. So the reason why I give acronyms is because I feel it'll be easy to remember and people will
Mhm.
be able to connect it at some point. And it creates a one slight high emotion that, hey, I remember this one thing. So you go against the grain and you create something that makes people remember. Like I remember there was a topic where I was talking about marketing and I had to, they asked me, what do you do unique? And I said, while the world focuses on USP, we talk about UST, which is
Ah,
unique. Instead of unique selling proposition, we call it unique selling truth.
right.
And truth is what sells. Today, the proposition does not sell. It's the truth. So if your brand is not true, if you are not true, it's not going to sell. So that's why I said, don't think USP, think UST. And that became headlines the next day of the conference. So again, that's the idea, kind of make people remember.
Oh, and I can't forget, I heard you probably 14, 15 months ago, and your concept of nebula. For the listeners, I'm not going to talk about it. You please book Aleem for a speech at your convention, and he'll come and tell you what nebula is. What a brilliant acronym, what a brilliant concept. And see, it's proving it right that I remember it even after so many months. So well done, Aleem.
Thank you, thank you. I think it's a tick in the box that, when somebody comes and tells me Nebula, I know that, it's working. And it's not a
Um,
gimmick now, Praveen. It's a very
yeah,
well thought of, customer journey that we have defined, and it's a must to understand how this customer has changed and why Nebula is relevant today for marketers or for entrepreneurs or anybody who is customer facing.
brilliant. Now, for someone listening who wants to stand out with their thinking, what is the one creative action you would recommend they take this week, Aleem?
See, whenever I look at communication, or even if I look at a lot of advertising books. I see a lot of young people who come in the organization. They flip the books and they just become happy seeing ads. What
Right.
I tell them is that look at that ad and now go back in time and visualize what must have been the brief. How must have they have brainstormed? What must have been that insight? How would they have come up that idea? And then how would they have presented it to the client? And if you can actually visualize that journey, it will make every brief to idea to execution possible for you. So one tip, if I have to give people, is that even if you open a newspaper ad, try and think what must have happened in the closed doors, and imagine that whole scenario, and you will always be able to then draw dots and connect lines.
Oh, Aleem, all your answers are so razor sharp. It's hitting it straight. The hammer is hitting the nail all the way through. It's been absolutely brilliant, but I'm not going to let you go. We need one. We have one more question. Any book, article, podcast that has impacted you over the year that you'd be happy to refer to the rest of us? Not related to ideation, but anything that has
Oh, you mean
impacted you.
besides my podcast?
Well,
Okay.
I've marketed that enough. Pills in a pot, pills in a pot. Apart from that.
I'm just kidding. I think I'm a sucker for acronyms, and like you said, there was this book that I recently read, and I just stumbled upon it. It was very beautiful. It was called Medic, MEDDICC. It has nothing, Praveen, to do with medicine. It's actually the science of selling. We think that selling is a art, selling is a talent, selling is a skill, but actually medic was a science to selling. And this was a beautiful acronym that I hope I'll be able to kind of remember it correctly. But M stood for the metric. What is the metric that you are selling for, right? E stands for, are you in touch with the economic buyer, the person who's going to take the financial decision? And this is for salespeople, right? So you can actually make a checklist of this. So
Yes.
metric, are you really solving the metric? Are you in touch with the economic buyer? Do you know the decision criteria? So that's D. Then there's another D, which is, do you know the decision process?
Hmm.
Yeah. Then I stood for, can you implicate the pain, that if you do not take my service, then this is the pain you will feel later, or you don't buy my product, this is the pain you will feel later. C stood for competition. So have you evaluated the competition clearly? C stood for costs, I think so, one more. And they further go on to say that medic also could be med picker, which means P stood for paperwork. Is your paperwork in place? And R stood for risk. Are you aware of the risk around this thing? So
Right.
actually medic was the name of the book, and med picker is the formula that they teach. And I think if you are in selling of any form, if your team is in selling of any form, this is a must read. It's a science of selling. You will realize later that actually science was never selling was never a skill or a talent or something that's you're good at. It's actually a science.
Brilliant, Aleem. Lovely, lovely to the point answers. And I always try and capture as much as we want. Is your purpose clear? If the purpose is clear, the idea is going to be better. Is it brave? Is it driven by insight? Does it make someone feel good? The 3 point criteria. Non-creativity is noise, and all of us crave creativity right from the caveman times. More mouth, less ears. That's what kills ideas. Insight is in what is not said. Your 28-point checklist, when I'm in Mumbai next, I'll try to come and riffle through your
Yes,
cupboard
I
and
will.
have a look at it. My very educated mother, medic picker, nebula, and the best way to remember and be remembered is by using acronyms so it's easy for us to pass through. Aleem, thanks a lot for sharing your notes, your ideas, your pointers with us. How to stand out? Well, you are leading by example, and we are all following what you say. So, thank you very much, Aleem.
Thank you, Praveen. The pleasure is all mine. This is such an amazing initiative you're doing. I'm sure it's going to benefit whoever watches it, and whoever is not watching it, we'll make sure they watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you. Pleasure.